It was only 9 months ago that Merab Dvalishvili beat Sean O'Malley and became the bantamweight championship of the world. Merab Dvalishvili defended that belt against Umar Nurmagomedov. Sean O'Malley has done quite literally nothing, but here we are. UFC 316 is this weekend, and there's a rematch, but the question is, has enough changed? Has enough changed from the first fight for A, Sean O'Malley to even deserve a rematch, or B, for him to even win this fight? I don't know if he's gotten better at the takedown defense, if he's put together a little more. He's talked about some injuries, but we're going to go ahead and break it down. My name is Angelo. This is Josh Thompson, and welcome to Bad Takes. Joshua, in their first matchup, did you think that Merab was going to win that fight? Like, were you surprised by anything the first time they fought?
Not really. I think everything about them I was surprised by the lack of fight IQ. And then after having Tim Welsh on our podcast, having a conversation with him about some of the injuries, not being able to train grappling, really wrestling at all, the hip injury that Sean O'Malley had, basically scheduled for surgery exactly right after the fight had happened. There was a lot. I think to take in. Sean O'Malley is very dangerous. He's very fast. He's tall, long, lanky, all the things that make a really good MMA fighter. And for those of you guys that know why I say that tall, long, lankiness helps with the sport is take a look at a lot of the champions throughout their career. Those guys have all been pretty much tall, long, and lanky. From GSP, Anderson Silva, John Jones. I mean, all the guys that were considered to be like great. Most of them were all tall, long, and lanky, and they had good runs. And I think I look at Sean O'Malley and I think to myself, man, he's good on the ground. Physically, you can tell he's not strong, but realistically, the speed, his lateral movement, all of those things are there. I haven't seen enough to say he's got a lot of like one crunch knockout power. He had fought, I think, a guy named Chris Gutierrez, couldn't get him out of there. Like there was
Chris Motino.
Okay, yeah. So, but like with him, he was like a punching bag, just kept coming for, but couldn't get him out of there. Certain guys just have chins though too. With Merab is one of those guys that you've got to learn to fight inside a phone booth, and if you can't fight in a phone booth, you've got to make sure you got enough cardio to go hard for 5 rounds. And not everyone has the cardio that Merab has, and so Sean's going to have to learn to deal with the movement. If you guys listen to Corey Sandhagen's last interview. Do you remember what he talked about? Because when he fought Umar, he said, I was moving so much to avoid the takedowns, all of those things, that he tired himself out. And rounds 3, 4, and 5, he just started getting tired. In his last fight, he had less movement, more subtle movements, but that worked really well to keep his opponent guessing. Those are the type of things that Sean O'Malley is going to have to do because he can't afford to get tired against Merab. Merab will just continue to push and grind and get you in that phone booth. And when he does get to the top position, he will hang on you on your head, get to your back, make you carry his weight. He has all of those things to continue to be the champion. I'm not sure. What did you see in the odds makers that made them say that he is the favorite? Sean O'Malley is the favorite, I believe.
Not in this fight. You're talking about the first time?
No, I know in the first time it was Sean. I thought you had said that to start this off that you'd said that Sean was the slight favorite.
No, I was saying I don't know what's changed to even A, earn the rematch, or B, give him the benefit of the doubt to win. He did say, so A, earning the rematch, I think that's just the state of the bantamweight division right now. Corey Sandhagen's the only other person that you could give a title shot to. Who else could you give it to if you're not going to give it to Sean O'Malley?
I would give it to Corey.
You made a face. Yeah, okay. Corey's the only person. Yeah, but this was already booked before Corey fought Figgy. So it's not, this was already decided on. Right. They didn't know Corey was going to win that fight. So that kind of just played out the way it played out. And obviously Corey just fought.
What you could take away from this, sorry to interrupt though, Angelo, is that what you could take away is that the UFC knew that he was hurt. They probably had the x-rays or the MRIs, whatever, on his hip or whatever it was he had to have surgery on. I believe it was his hip. And the UFC said, look, we need you to fight this fight because we can't afford to lose you going into the Noche. We charge these people $6,000, $7,000 a seat. Like, we need you to fight. This was very similar to the Cain Velasquez situation when Fox, for the very first Fox fight night, Fox card, where he lost to Dos Santos. He hurt his knee the week before. He literally couldn't kick, could barely walk. And they said, hey, we will go ahead and take care of you. And sure enough, they took care of him and he fought. And ultimately, the result was that way. Came back. I think he went off and got a win. Then he came back and got the automatic rematch. And then, and then he fought and he wins the title. Sean O'Malley probably being put into that same situation. Like, look, I'll go ahead and take the fight, probably knowing I'm going to lose. Can't use my hips, my grappling, and if it's painful, whatever it is. Well, he went out and hopefully he got it fixed. All of the things that you're saying that he did, this could be one of those things that the UFC is going, hey, you did us a solid. We'll push you right back into that mix. We'll see where you end up. If you lose this fight, though, you're not getting a title shot for a long time.
If he loses, it's pretty bad for his stock. Obviously, it's 2 losses to the same guy, and it opens the door for some other matches. But let me just back up. So Sean O'Malley specifically said, like what you walked through, that's basically what he said. He just walked it through the other day where he said, listen, a few weeks after I signed this contract, I knew my hip was a problem and I needed hip surgery. Then the UFC called me and said, hey, you got Noche, you got the Sphere. So he said, I basically can't pull out. Like, this is too big of an opportunity to pass up. So in his mind, he was like, I can still win this fight. It's the Sphere. It's Noche UFC. I'm going to do it anyway. So Sean O'Malley did fight. In his words, if you believe fighters, I mean, after you lose and all this stuff comes out, it's you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. But if you take him at his word, which, I guess we have to, right? He's never been an excuse maker up until this point. If you take him at his word, he was injured. He continued to fight specifically because that was at Noche, and it was a massive fight card. Then if you look at it objectively and you're like, okay, this guy was injured. He did win 2 rounds. I don't think it was a close fight, though. I think he won 2 rounds, but the other rounds were very decisive. It was very straightforward decision for Merab. But if you give him the benefit of the injury doubt, then I guess you could look at the division and you're the UFC and you say, okay, well, he was hurt the first time. He won a couple of rounds. He's still a name. This is kind of the fight that we have to make. But I don't know so you tell me, you're the fighter. He had a hip injury. He couldn't train his grappling as much as he should have and all of those things. He went in there, he fought anyway. Let's assume at whatever percent. Let's say he was 75% of who he is. Do you think now, let's assume he's 90%, nobody's 100. Let's assume he's 90% now. Do you think that delta is enough to win this fight? Do you think like, hey, I felt it. I felt the Merab pressure. I know he can't finish me, so I just have to let my hands go? Or do you think it's the opposite? Like, this dude took me down 9 times the first time, and he's almost going to be frozen waiting for that pressure to come?
I think that every time you see a champion fight, it's more likely they're going to get beat the next fight. Only because now there's more of a sample size of top level fighters dissecting what you've done inside that cage. They know that, hey, I can exploit him here and here because so-and-so had success. And that guy is similar to the way I fight. Or these are the things that I know I can do to exploit those same areas. Now with Sean O'Malley, I think I couldn't see enough in the first fight, only based on the fact that he spent a lot of time on his butt and on his back and, and just being controlled in positions that you would hope that he'd be able to get up from. That being said, like Sean's rededicated his life to no social media, no smoking weed, no partying, no being like none of that stuff. Look, I've been up for about, 4 hours. Okay. Been up for about 4 hours. Yes, 4 hours.
Just doing the math. It's 10 o'clock. I was just doing the math.
That explains a lot. I've been up for about 4 hours, and I've been on my phone for probably about 45 minutes of that. Think about someone like a Sean O'Malley, right? In between training sessions, he's probably on his phone at least, 4 to 5 hours a day, answering, whether it's UFC talks and conversation, whether it's training coaching conversations, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever it is. All of those things now are just time that he can spend recovery. Your brain doesn't shut down when you're on your phone. And so for him just to be able to totally detox, lay down, get some real rest, I think you're going to see a different Sean O'Malley. Now, do I think he'll win? I don't know. I couldn't tell you because I didn't see enough. If it is with the hip being what it was and a lot of the fight being in wrestling and jiu-jitsu, okay, then we should definitely see a huge improvement. The movement, the lateral movement, the speed, all of those things should be vastly improved. His focus on the fight should be vastly improved. Just knowing that he had no distractions during this camp. Now that you've done all of those things, and if you lose this fight, like you have nowhere else to go. I did everything I possibly could, but as a fighter, you can live with that. You don't need to hear from fans and media and whatever it is saying that oh well, he's just he could have done more. No, I couldn't have done more. I did everything I possibly could have to win this fight. I think you're definitely going to see a different Sean O'Malley. Now, whether he wins, not sure, but I think you're going to see obviously a lot better Sean O'Malley. Movement, long range striking, And Merab is not going to be able to get away with the things he got away with in the first fight. I don't believe so. I think Sean's going to be a little bit more of a sniper. He's going to be more focused and more on top of everything.
It is interesting. So, and you mentioned he rededicated his life, and he did do that. He's spending a lot more time with his kids. He put down all the substances, all of that stuff, which obviously very important, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're fundamentally changing who you are and what you do. Obviously, not smoking anymore. There's got to be physical benefits to that, but there may be negative. I don't smoke, so
say that to Nick and Nate Diaz. Say that to them.
Yeah, they run marathons. They've never.
Yeah.
So
triathlon, not just marathons. Triathlon. There's a marathon inside of the rest of the other shit they do. No.
So I don't smoke, so I can't speak to any of it, but I have to imagine you're also smoking to relax your mind and sort of get out of it all and just sort of wind down. So removing that component of it, it is an interesting dynamic anytime you get somebody who drastically changes a lot of things in their life for that next fight. Yeah. Like we just saw it with Ilya. Ilya Topuria is on a win streak. He's winning, and he still left his team, changed everything for this next chapter. Sean O'Malley obviously lost the fight. He didn't change his staff or any of that, but he's changing how he lives his life. Maybe it's amazing, right? Maybe those were distractions and he was a little too full of himself, not as dedicated as he should have been. Or maybe that's what got him here. Listen, a little puff pass, it helps him relax at night, keeps his mind clear. He's not going crazy. Obviously, a hip injury is a hip injury, but it will be interesting to see. I am of the mindset, though, that I understand why they did this matchup. I'm going to watch it. I'm looking forward to it. I don't quite think enough has happened. We're only 9 months removed from the first fight. And 9 months, his takedown defense isn't going to be that much better in 9 months. The cardio is not going to be that much better in 9 months. Obviously, that whole hip injury thing, if you take him at his word, then that is an interesting dynamic and an interesting wrinkle. So I don't know. I mean, their hands were tied. They kind of had to do this. But I actually think even this new improved Sean, full, normal hip, all those things, I think this is the exact same fight, if not worse for Sean.
Oh, wow, worse.
Because so the logic of Sean was in there, Sean felt the Merab pressure, Sean was never in any real danger. So in theory, he should, if I'm his coach, it's like, dude, this guy, all he can do is take you down. That's it. He can't hurt you in any capacity. He's not going to choke you. He can't finish you. You need to let your hands go. Don't worry about those takedowns. Who cares? You'll be fine, right? If I'm the coach, that's the direction I'm going. Like, just let your hands go. Do not worry about those takedowns. But the other works as well. If you're on the Merab side, it's like, dude, he can't. At one point, he hit you a few times, but in a 25-minute fight, you basically dominated that thing. Move forward, pressure him, take him down a million times over, and you're fine. More of the same. He just did it to Umar. He lost the first 2 rounds, took over, and Umar's probably the second best fighter in the world. Everybody thought the best fighter in the world at that point. So, both camps have the same narrative of like, this guy can't hurt you. Just do more of the same. And I think Merab doing more of the same is a bigger issue because Sean O'Malley fighting on his back foot, he does have to be insanely mobile to not get taken down a million times over. So I think this fight is just more of the same. And I think Merab just runs right through him. Now, we have the alleged, I'm not going to say alleged, he had surgery, the hip injury on the Sean O'Malley side, and we have the toe problem on the Merab side. You saw his toe was fully broken.
But I want to know, like, look, Merab to me, though, sometimes now, not sometimes, Trolls. Merab is a troll. Like, he is somebody, I feel like maybe he threw some makeup on it, took a video of it. It's like, yo, my toe is broken. Like, you just never know what you're getting with Merab. I mean, he's running around in a Sean O'Malley wig in a Corvette, basically talking trash to people. So I don't know what you're going to get. I can't even tell you if that video was real.
I assume
AI generated.
I mean, I assume it was real, but I don't think it matters. In his last fight against Umar, he basically talked through the wild infection he had and like all those issues. So I think a broken toe. Who's that dude? You might not know the name. I don't know if he was famous. A big jiu-jitsu dude who kept breaking his pinky toe and then he literally cut it off. He's like, forget it. And just cut it off. He had it amputated so that he can continue to compete. And it was not. Yeah, it was like in the mid 2000s.
No, it wasn't a jiu-jitsu guy. It was a wrestler.
It was a wrestler.
It was not Baumgartner. He won the Olympic gold medal. He beat Quillan.
Oh, Rulon Gardner.
Yeah,
I think that was diabetes. I don't think that was. I don't know if this was.
He cut his toe off.
Because didn't he get frozen? Wasn't he like stuck in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
wilderness?
But he literally cut his toes off, and he still
Yeah.
competed at a very
Yeah,
high level.
he was he was stuck in the wilderness. He was
Yeah.
frozen. But it is an interesting dynamic. So like I don't want to come across as a hater on this main event because it makes sense
Oh,
on
but you
paper.
are. That's exactly what you said.
I'm not a hater on the main event. I just don't think it's going to be a different fight. I know there's these other circumstances. I think it's going to be the exact same fight. Merab's basically a 3-1 favorite, and I think he should be. We saw the fight. He won the fight. There was some weird nonsense with him yelling at Tim Welch was pretending to be Merab's coach. So Merab yelled at him. There was that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
There was a few other weird circumstances, but for the most part, this was a pretty straightforward fight. And I think we get exactly the same thing again.
I think it's going to be a lot closer fight. I can't tell you which way it's going to go, but I look at it as more of a 50-50 fight. I would go 60-40, obviously leaning towards Merab because we've seen the game plan on which he knows works. But I think also as you have a different fighter in Sean O'Malley who's going to be able to be a little bit more mobile. We're going to see how well he is at getting back up to his feet. Can he use his kicks and his length a little bit more, knowing that the hip is probably a lot better now? Those are all the things that to take into consideration. Look, don't think that the UFC, when they say, hey, when you tell them that you're hurt, they send you to their doctors.
Yeah, let's make sure you're not full of shit. Yeah.
The NFL does the same exact thing. The NBA does the same. They want to know how hurt you really are. Can he, if I'm paying you millions of dollars, can he really fight? Can he really play ball? And if you're just faking it, then we have a problem. This may be somebody I don't want to keep on my team. This is an individual sport. So Sean O'Malley, though, he's getting this title shot. The UFC saw the damage. He had the surgery. Probably went to their doctors. They knew exactly what he was dealing with. Now that makes in their mind, it justifies giving him another shot. Now it's up to him to win. Scott Coker used to tell this to me all the time. My job as a promoter is to put on the best fights I can possibly put on. It's up to the fighters to win the fight. Like I can't be concerned over who wants who to win. That's not my business. I'm not in that business. I'm in the business to put on the best fights I possibly can. And it's up to the fighters to win. That's it. And I think in this situation, like Sean O'Malley, to me, there's a little bit more of a history there between him versus Merab and Corey Sandhagen. And I would take Sean O'Malley over Corey Sandhagen. And I love watching Corey Sandhagen fight. But if you think about it, right, it's a lead up to like Corey's going to get next. And we could potentially see the Sean O'Malley and Corey Sandhagen fight. That'd be a fantastic fight on the feet. Fun fight. And if it doesn't happen, then we're going to see Merab and Corey. And so and then Merab can really just kind of train the same exact way, not as if he trains a lot and not as if he changes a lot between his camps. He's the same fighter almost every time. He just makes little tweaks here and there that work for his opponents, that work against his opponents. I love this fight. I could see if Corey was a little frustrated with it all, but like you said, it was announced already beforehand. Corey's waiting in the wings going, hey, I get next. That's fair. That's a fair assessment. I think the Usman Nurmagomedov and the Merab fight, it's going to end up happening again. Umar is somebody that he will find his way back. He was dominating the first 2 rounds.
And then he had the same, he broke his hand. Almost same narrative as Sean O'Malley. Like, hey, there was some success and there was an injury. Umar, there was some success and there was an injury.
Yeah. And look, Umar's going to be dangerous for all of them. But look, on any given night, and Umar is my boy, but on any given night, it doesn't matter. You sometimes show up and it's just not there. There's times where you're in the back going, I can barely keep my eyes open. You're trying to get ready to get yourself warmed up. The morning you wake up at the fight, there's days you just like, I don't really feel like fighting today. You just feel low energy. And sometimes you're able to still go out there and get the win. But against these guys, the guys at the top 2 or 3 guys, you need to be on point. And you need to also have them be a half a percentage point not as good as they were, the last fight. And so it kind of all equals itself out. Ultimately, it just comes down to who shows up the day of the fight and gets the win. Will Merab show up? He's been showing up consistently for 5-6 years now. And the same thing with Sean O'Malley. So he had the injury with Cheeto, and then he also had the injury, in this last fight.
I wouldn't even call it Cheeto one an injury, but yeah.
Yeah. So but in this situation, like Sean's coming back from the injury, he's all here, he's all healed up, he's ready to go. The UFC knows this. They brought him in and said, hey, we saw what you went through. We understood. We saw all the MRIs. We understand like what you did. We want to thank you for not pulling out a Noche, which would have killed us, and you stepped up and did it. We're going to do you a little solid here.
Yeah.
Makes sense. As a business model for the UFC, it makes a ton of sense.
Well, and Sean O'Malley's still a draw. If my comment section is anything, it's an indication that Sean O'Malley's he was never a huge draw, but he's still a draw because I would say 70% of the comments about that main event are people picking Sean, talking about, oh, this time his hip is healed up, he'll be fine, or that last fight was super close. So a lot of people do feel Sean O'Malley wins, and those are obviously people that are fans of his. So
close. I don't. Was the
I thought the exact words I used in my breakdown video was, I feel like there's a Mandela effect going on with that fight. You know what the Mandela effect is?
No, I don't. I don't.
The Mandela
Connecticut.
No, it's an age thing. A Mandela effect is you remember things that never actually happened. So one of the most famous Mandela effects is a movie, like some genie movie with Sinbad. People remember this movie from the 90s called like Shazam or whatever, that Sinbad was in it and he was a genie. And millions of people remember this movie existing. It never existed. Wasn't a thing. Wasn't a thing. It never existed. And then same things with...
How does that relate to Mandela?
I don't know how it relates to... I don't know how that got named as the Mandela effect, but that's what the Mandela effect is. Same with the Berenstain Bears.
Hell, Angelo?
There's that book, The Berenstain Bears, we all grew up with.
Yeah.
People remember it as the Bernstein Bears. It's not. It's Berenstain Bears. And there's like a million of these. Like,
yeah, I would have said Bernstein Bears.
Yeah, and there's a million of them, like famous quotes people remember from movies, and like, that was never a quote. That never happened. So my point was, I feel like there's a Mandela effect here where people are remembering this first fight as being very close. And it wasn't. There was not a human being on this planet that was waiting for the decision, not knowing what the outcome was. It was a very clear decision. The outcome was very clear. Sean O'Malley had a few moments of success, but it was a 25-minute fight. Of course, there were a few moments of success there. So I don't think it was close at all. I don't think this one will be close. Maybe a little closer. But I also think, sure, Sean's hip is all healed up. But Sean, we're not, it's 9 months. Hip surgery is not nothing. So he had surgery, he recovered, he got back. Like, there's a lot that has to happen there to get back into this rhythm. So I don't think enough has changed here. I think we have the exact same fight again.
I'm going to disagree. I think it's going to be a better fight. And if I was to lean, like if you're going to take the dog, what's the odds on that fight? What is he looking at?
I think it's 3-1 Merab.
3-1. So what? He's a plus 300. Sean is.
No, they got to get their money. It's minus 270 Merab, plus 230 Sean. So almost 3-1.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I would look, if I'm going to take Sean to win by anything, it's going to be by knockout.
So, yeah, I don't see him winning a decision because that means he's dotting up Merab over and over and over and over.
Yeah, I think he can catch him. I think if he does catch him, he catch him coming in. Getting, because Merab is very wild and reckless. But that's what makes him so effective. Is that you don't know where he's coming from. He's going to shoot. He's going to throw the overhand right. You cannot take anything for granted against him because he has the innate ability to scramble out of everything and put himself into scrambling positions, but you cannot win those scrambling positions because he's just a little ball of muscle. So chasing his neck might be a good thing, but I think Merab will be able to fight off of that. But catching him coming in like an Aljamain Sterling type situation, I could see that happening. I really could. We'll see what happens. But Sean, to me, is going to be a different fighter. The kicks will be a lot more relevant because of the hip. The movement will be relevant. And then that's a lot of how he sets up all of his striking. So I think there will be a big difference in the fight. Like I said, I don't know who's going to win. But if I'm going to take anyone, right? I'm going to take Sean to win by KO. I could possibly take him to win by finish, just submission or KO. But if I was going to take Merab, I would just take him by decision. That's the only way I would take him. So those are the two ways I felt like if I'm going to put some bets down or hedge my bets or whatever, I would look at those ways.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not hating on the matchup. The matchup makes sense. It should be a fun fight. I actually thought the first fight was pretty fun. People hated on it, but it was fun because it was a tense sort of aura around it where you're waiting for Sean to land a big one. Merab just keeps moving forward. So I'm looking forward to the rematch. It is funny though. Last little point I'll make here before we put a bow on it. Sean, his coaches, they're all talking. I think Merab's a divisional GOAT. Some people are saying, oh, they're trolling. I'm not getting trolling vibes. I think they're almost preparing themselves to lose again. Like, oh, this guy's the GOAT. We lost to the GOAT. Who cares? We lost to the division's best.
No. They're not trolling. They're setting it up so if he does win, he beat the divisional GOAT. That's not trolling. That's just saying that's making sure that people put him on a pedestal so that I could knock him off the pedestal. So That's what it is. And there's no way he's the divisional GOAT. I'm sorry. No.
No, not yet.
No,
Yeah.
no, Dom Cruz. Hello, Dom. Like, did we just forget that Dom like exists at all? Like, what the hell are we talking about? None of these guys are anywhere near close to what Dom Cruz has done. Not even close. They're not even sniffing his jock strap right now. And I love Merab. I love Sean. I love Corey Sand. I love Umar. They've got some work to do, man. They got a lot of work to do. So to say that they're the divisional GOAT, no. They're the best right now. Give them that. But Dom Cruz cannot be forgotten.
Yeah, I completely agree. He even beat DJ, who most people think is the GOAT in period of all of it. So let us know what you guys think. Let us know if you think that this fight's going to be any different from the first one. Did the hip injury actually matter? Are you worried about Merab's toe? Curious what you guys think. Let us know below. That was another bad take from Big Ange and Baby Josh.